There is a crocodile alive right now that looks almost identical to a crocodile from 200 million years ago. 200 million years. And it has barely changed. Not because it's stuck. Not because it's waiting to evolve into something else. But because it already solved the problem of being a crocodile so perfectly that there was no reason to change. Now think about that for a second. Evolution doesn't push toward complexity. It doesn't push toward intelligence. It doesn't have some secret destination called advanced. So when you ask yourself, and you definitely have, why haven't monkeys become human yet if we share an ancestor? You're actually asking the wrong question. The right question is darker. Why would they? 25 million years ago in Africa, there was a primate, one animal, but then the world changed. The climate shifted. Slowly, relentlessly. Forests that had existed for millions of years started disappearing. They contracted into smaller and smaller patches, and where the forests died, grasslands took over. Now there's a forest still standing, safe, familiar, with fruit in the trees and branches to climb. And there's open grassland, harsh, unknown, full of different dangers. Some descendants stayed, some left, not by choice, just by geography, by circumstance. The ones who left faced a problem they'd never encountered before. In the grassland, climbing trees isn't an option. Running on two legs isn't a suggestion. It's necessary. You need to see above the tall grass. You need to move fast across open ground. They needed bigger brains, not to think about existentialism, but to navigate a more complex world, to remember water locations, to plan hunts. They needed hands that could make tools because the grassland doesn't provide the same instant food that trees do. Over millions of years, those pressures, constant, relentless, specific, shaped them into something new, into us. But here's the part that breaks the entire narrative we tell about evolution. The ones who stayed in the forest, they're still there. And they're not halfway to becoming human. They're not behind on some invisible ladder. They're not slowly progressing toward anything. They're just living. Because the forest asks a different question than the grassland. The forest says, can you climb? Can you find fruit? Can you remember which trees fruit in which seasons? Can you navigate a tight, complex space? The monkey says, yes, I can do all of that, perfectly. And evolution says, then you're done. Walking upright in a forest is actually slower, weaker, less stable. You move better on four limbs through dense vegetation. A massive brain is expensive, enormous amounts of energy. For what? The forest doesn't reward abstract planning. It rewards immediate, concrete responses. Language requires generations of children spending years learning symbols and grammar. In a forest where survival is about reading the present moment, that's a terrible investment. Every single trait that makes humans successful in a human world would actually be a disadvantage in a forest. So monkeys didn't fail to become human. They succeeded at being perfectly adapted to the one thing that mattered, surviving in their environment. And they've been succeeding for 25 million years. This is the moment everything changes about how you think about evolution. It's not a ladder. It's not a race. There is no more evolved. There's only, does this survive in this specific place? If yes, it survives. If no, it dies. If it survives but could do better with a different trait, that trait slowly appears. That's it. That's the entire engine. A mosquito has been nearly identical for 50 million years. Not because it's primitive or stuck, because the mosquito is absurdly good at being a mosquito. A bacterium is simple, simpler than almost anything alive. But a bacterium will inherit the planet long after we're gone, because simplicity, in a bacterium's world, is the ultimate advantage. Complexity isn't better. Bigger isn't better. Intelligence isn't the goal. Only one thing matters. Does it work for what you need to do? A human can write symphonies and equations and philosophy. A human can plan a decade into the future and build cathedrals. In a human world, that's extraordinary. Drop that human in an Amazon rainforest with no tools and no survival knowledge. Alone. Drop a monkey in the exact same rainforest. The monkey survives. The human dies. Because the monkey doesn't just live in the forest, it's been shaped by the forest for millions of years. Every instinct, every ability, every trait, finely tuned to that specific place. The monkey knows which plants are safe, which snakes to avoid, how to move silently, how to read the patterns of animal behavior. The forest isn't mysterious to the monkey. The forest is home. The human is a foreigner. So when you ask why monkeys haven't become human, you're asking why they haven't abandoned every advantage they have in exchange for advantages that only matter somewhere else. You're asking why they haven't become something worse at doing the only thing they need to do. And the answer isn't that they can't evolve. They're evolving constantly. Monkey societies are getting more complex. Some groups have developed tool use that's specific to their population. Others have hunting strategies that are learned across generations. There are regional dialects in their calls, sounds that are different if you're born in this forest versus that one. They're changing, becoming more adapted to their specific environments. They're just not changing into humans, because they don't need to. That's not evolution failing. That's evolution winning. The moment you understand this, everything flips. We think of humans as the pinnacle, the final form, the thing everything else is working toward. But there's no pinnacle. There's no finish line. There's only the question. Given where you are and what you need to do, are you built for it? A chimpanzee is built for the forest. A human is built for the savanna and beyond. Neither is more evolved. We're both solving completely different equations. For 25 million years, monkeys have been answering yes to the only question that matters. Can I survive here? Yes. Do I need to change? No. That's not a failure to progress. That's the entire point of evolution. It's not about becoming better in some cosmic sense. It's about becoming better at the specific problem you face. And when you solve that problem, you're already perfect. You just might never realize it.